Imagine waking up one morning and feeling completely at peace with yourself. No rush, no pressure, just calm. Imagine spending an entire day alone, yet feeling so full inside that loneliness never touches your heart. Imagine discovering a happiness so deep it does not depend on anyone else but you. How different would your life be if you could truly enjoy your own company? Have you ever noticed how many people seem afraid of being alone? Why is it that when we are by ourselves, some of us feel restless, uneasy, or even sad? What if the secret to lasting happiness isn't found outside but inside, within the quiet moments we spend alone? Think about a time you were alone and felt genuinely happy. What was different then? Or maybe you've never experienced that joy by yourself. What's stopping you from finding peace in your own presence? For example, consider a simple walk in nature. You might see a tree, a bird, or feel the breeze. Alone, you observe these things quietly, and somehow, it feels nourishing. This simple moment can teach us something very important. Being alone does not mean being empty. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. Here, we explore timeless teachings and practical wisdom to help you find peace and happiness, starting with yourself. If you find value in this journey, please like this video, share it with those who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your thoughts matter. Please drop down your experiences and questions in the comment below. Your engagement helps us grow this community of peace seekers. In this video, we will explore why being comfortable with your own company is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Many of us spend our lives looking outward for happiness, but true contentment begins within. Buddhism teaches us that the mind can be restless and that happiness is often clouded by craving and distractions. When we learn to sit quietly with ourselves, without judgment or fear, we start to unravel the patterns that pull us away from peace. Over the next few minutes, we will understand why solitude is not the enemy, but a friend. We will see how loneliness differs from aloneness, and why learning to enjoy your own presence can bring freedom and joy. This is not about being isolated or lonely. It's about embracing yourself fully and finding happiness from the inside out. So, take a deep breath and open your heart to the possibility that happiness does not come from outside, but from within you. Let's begin this beautiful journey together. In the quiet dawn, the mind often feels like a restless ocean. Waves rise and fall. Thoughts, feelings, memories, all come and go, like leaves floating on water. But there's a place beneath the waves where the water is still, clear, and deep. This place is the true nature of your mind. It is always there, waiting quietly, untouched by storms. Buddhism teaches us that this stillness is our true home. We search for happiness in many places, in work, in relationships, in possessions. But these are like reflections on the surface of the water. They are beautiful, but they change and fade. When we find the stillness beneath, we touch a happiness that does not depend on anything outside. It is steady, calm, and forever present. When you look inside yourself with kindness, you begin to see that the mind's restlessness comes from attachment and desire. We want things to be a certain way. We want to hold on to pleasant feelings and push away unpleasant ones. But this is like trying to catch the wind with your hands. It cannot be held. The Buddha said that suffering arises from craving, from clinging. When we cling to people, to ideas, to things, we create tension and pain. But when we learn to let go gently, without forcing or resisting, the heart becomes light, like a bird that is free to fly in the open sky. To be happy in your own company is to accept yourself just as you are, not perfect, not fixed, but alive and changing. When you stop fighting yourself, you create space for peace to grow. This does not mean ignoring your feelings or problems. It means meeting them with open eyes and a soft heart. Imagine sitting quietly under a tree. The wind moves the leaves. Sometimes the sun shines warmly. Sometimes the clouds cover the sky. You do not try to change the weather. You simply observe, breathing in and out, present with what is. This is the practice of mindfulness. It teaches us that happiness is not found in controlling life, but in embracing it fully. The mind, when trained gently, can become like a clear lake. When a stone falls into it, ripples spread out, but eventually the water settles again. This is how we learn to respond to the ups and downs of life. We do not resist the waves. We let them come and go, returning always to calmness. In solitude, you have the opportunity to meet yourself deeply. The noise of the world fades, and you hear the soft voice of your own heart. You realize that you're not your thoughts, nor your worries. You are the space in which they arise. This space is boundless and free. Many people fear being alone because they have never truly known themselves. They confuse the silence with emptiness. But silence is not nothing. It is the soil where the seeds of wisdom and compassion grow. When you allow yourself to be silent, you begin to hear the gentle truths that were always inside you. The Buddhist path shows us that by looking inward, we discover that all beings share the same desire for happiness and the same wish to avoid suffering. This understanding deepens our kindness toward ourselves and others. When you are at peace within, your presence becomes a source of calm for those around you. As you practice being alone without fear, you notice a change. Your heart feels lighter. You smile more easily. You become less attached to the things that once caused you pain. The happiness you find is not loud or flashy. It is quiet, steady, and gentle, like the soft glow of a candle in the dark. Remember, happiness in your own company does not mean you must be alone all the time. It means you can be alone and still feel whole. You carry the fullness inside you wherever you go. When you meet others, you do so from a place of inner peace, not neediness or fear. The practice of being content with yourself is a gift that grows with time. Each moment spent in quiet reflection is a step closer to freedom. The more you return to the stillness within, the more your mind learns to rest like a calm lake. This is the wisdom of the Buddha. Peace is not something to chase, but something to awaken to. It is not found in things or even in people, but in the gentle knowing of your own true nature. So, as you walk your path, remember to return often to your own company. Sit quietly, breathe deeply. Watch your thoughts as clouds passing in a vast sky. Let the waves of feeling rise and fall without struggle. In this way, you will find happiness, not as a distant goal, but as a friend who walks beside you always. The joy of your own presence is the greatest treasure you can discover. Why solitude is not loneliness. Imagine the stillness of a quiet lake at dawn. The water is calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. Now imagine a storm blows through, disturbing the surface, and the lake becomes choppy, restless. Solitude, like that calm lake, is a state of peace within. Loneliness is like the storm, restlessness that clouds the mind and heart. Many people confuse being alone with being lonely. They think solitude means emptiness or sadness. But this is not true. Solitude is a natural state where the mind finds rest, where you can simply be. Loneliness, on the other hand, is a feeling of disconnection, a pain born from wanting and craving something or someone outside of yourself. In Buddhist teaching, we learn that all suffering arises from attachment. When we cling to people, things, or situations, we set ourselves up for suffering. If you depend on others to fill your happiness, then their absence will create loneliness. But when you learn to be comfortable with yourself, you realize that solitude is a gift, a space for freedom and peace. Being alone does not mean you are empty or forgotten. It means you have a chance to meet yourself fully without distraction. It is in solitude that you can hear the quiet whispers of your own heart. It is in solitude that the mind can settle like that calm lake, reflecting reality clearly. Loneliness often comes from a mind caught in stories. Stories about needing company, stories about being unworthy, stories about what is missing. But these stories are just that, stories. They're clouds that block the sun of your true nature. When you sit quietly and watch these stories without judgment, they begin to lose their power. Imagine sitting beneath a large tree, alone. You watch the leaves dance in the wind. There is no need to speak, no need to act, just to be there, fully present. In that moment, you are complete. The tree does not need you, and you do not need anything else to be whole. This is the heart of solitude. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a monkey, always jumping from one thought to another. In company, the mind is distracted by others' words, actions, and emotions. In solitude, there's a chance to calm this restless monkey. You learn to observe your thoughts without chasing them. You learn that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Some people fear solitude because they fear facing themselves. They are afraid of what they might find inside, a past regret, a hidden sadness, or simply the silence. But the Zen way invites us to lean into that silence, to greet ourselves with kindness. When you stop running away, the heart softens. Solitude is like a deep well. When you dip your cup into it, you find fresh water, a wellspring of clarity, calm, and strength. The more you return to this well, the less you thirst for external approval or company to feel complete. Loneliness is a storm that passes. Solitude is the sky that remains. In this sky, the clouds may come and go, but the vastness underneath is always calm. When you recognize this vastness within yourself, loneliness loses its grip. In daily life, moments of solitude can be small: a quiet cup of tea, a slow walk without distraction, a few minutes sitting in silence. These moments, repeated often, become a practice. Like tending a garden, you cultivate peace in your heart. When you practice solitude, you build a deep friendship with yourself. You learn to listen with compassion and patience. You become your own safe place. This is powerful because life is always changing. People come and go, situations shift, but your relationship with yourself is constant. The Zen masters often say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. This means that peace is not about escaping the world, but being fully present in whatever you do, alone or with others. Loneliness seeks to fill a hole, but solitude helps you discover there was no hole to begin with. It is a journey from emptiness to fullness. You learn to rest in the silence between thoughts, in the space between breaths. This is not easy at first. The mind resists change, but with patience, the practice grows. You start to notice subtle shifts, a gentle smile from within, a lightness in your chest, a sense of calm that stays even in difficulty. True solitude is not about isolation or cutting off from the world. It is about finding a peaceful center within, a place you can return to no matter where life takes you. It is like a home inside yourself. When you embrace solitude, you also become more present with others. Your relationships deepen because you're not looking to others to complete you. Instead, you bring your full self to the connection, free and whole. In the silence of solitude, you may discover something extraordinary, that you are enough, exactly as you are. This is a profound teaching of Buddhism, to see your true nature beyond all labels and stories. Many people search for happiness in the noise of life, in the company of others, in busy schedules. But happiness that depends on outside conditions is fragile. Solitude teaches you to find happiness that is unshakable because it comes from within. This inner happiness is like a lamp in the darkness. No matter what happens outside, the lamp remains lit. It does not flicker with the wind of circumstances. This lamp is your own peaceful presence. You might wonder, how do I begin to enjoy solitude if it feels so uncomfortable now? The answer is simple, but not always easy. Start small, start gently. Sit quietly for a few minutes each day. Notice your breath. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Treat yourself with kindness. Over time, you will find that solitude becomes a friend, not a foe. You will feel a deep sense of rest that no activity or distraction can give. You will learn that being alone is the most natural, nourishing state. Remember, the lotus flower blooms beautifully even in muddy water. So too can your happiness blossom in solitude. even if your mind feels troubled now. The path of solitude is not to escape life, but to live it fully, awake and aware. It is a gift to yourself, a chance to return home to your own heart. In this way, solitude becomes the foundation for true happiness, peace, and freedom. In the quiet moments, when the world around you slows down, you may notice a feeling rising within. It is a feeling many know well, though few understand. This feeling is restlessness. It stirs the mind and unsettles the heart. It is that uneasy urge that keeps you from being fully present, that pushes you to seek something just out of reach. Restlessness is like a river that never rests. The water rushes on, never settling, always moving. But if you watch closely, you will see how this rushing disturbs the clarity of the water. The water becomes muddy and turbulent, and you cannot see clearly what lies beneath. In the same way, restlessness clouds the mind. It keeps you from seeing your true self. But why does this restlessness arise? Why does the mind feel so uneasy, even when there is no danger, no urgent problem? The answer is simple, yet profound. Restlessness arises because the mind is never satisfied. It is always chasing after something: pleasure, success, approval, or escape. It is like a flame that burns without fuel, endlessly flickering, searching for something to feed it. When you look deeply into the nature of this seeking, you realize it is born from craving and fear. You crave what you do not have, and you fear losing what you do have. These cravings and fears are the seeds of restlessness. They create a hunger that can never be fully fed. No matter how much you achieve or acquire, the mind demands more. It is never at peace. This is why in Buddhism, the root of suffering is called tanha, thirst, craving, or desire. It is this thirst that pulls you away from the present moment. You might try to fill it with work, relationships, possessions, or distractions, but it is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. The bucket never stays full because the hole is always leaking. Restlessness is also a sign that you have lost connection with the stillness that is your true nature. Beneath the noise and movement of thoughts, beneath the worries and plans, there's a calm space. This space is always there, but it is often covered over by the restless mind. When you lose touch with this calm space, you feel lost, anxious, and uneasy. Many people try to escape restlessness by running from it. They fill their time with noise, busyness, or endless activity. Some turn to their phones, others to social gatherings, some to work or entertainment. But these escapes only provide a temporary distraction. Once the distraction ends, the restlessness returns, often stronger than before. The Zen teaching is to stop running, to stop trying to escape the mind's movement. Instead, you turn toward it with gentle curiosity. When restlessness arises, you do not fight it, nor do you push it away. You simply notice it, observe it as if it were a cloud passing in the sky. You watch it without judgment, without fear. By doing this, the restless energy begins to lose its power. When you give it your calm attention, the restlessness reveals itself for what it is: temporary, changeable, and empty of true substance. You begin to see that the mind's racing is like a story it tells itself, a story made of old habits and fears, not reality. This practice of watching the mind is meditation. It is not about controlling or stopping thoughts, but about changing your relationship to them. You become the witness, the observer who is not pulled into the drama of the restless mind. Slowly, this brings peace. You learn that restlessness is a message, not a punishment. It tells you that you have forgotten how to rest within yourself. It invites you to come back home to your own heart, to the quiet that lives there. When you answer this invitation, the river of your mind begins to slow. The muddy water clears, and you see the world and yourself more clearly. There's a story of a monk who once asked the master, "How can I find peace when my mind will not stop racing?" The master replied, "Sit still and watch the river. See how it flows, but do not try to catch the water. Let it pass." In your daily life, restlessness may come as impatience when waiting in line, or as irritation during a conversation. It may appear as worry about the future or regret over the past. Whenever it arises, pause and breathe. Notice how the feeling moves through your body. Don't push it away. Don't cling to it. As you practice this gentle watching, the space between your thoughts will grow. You will find moments of stillness, like small islands of peace. These moments are the foundation of true happiness. Happiness that does not depend on anything outside of you. You will begin to understand that restlessness is not something to defeat, but something to befriend. It is part of the human experience, a signpost pointing toward deeper awareness. By accepting it, you become stronger and more compassionate toward yourself. The Zen way is simple, but not easy. It asks you to face your mind honestly, to sit with discomfort, and to trust the process. You do not need to rush or struggle. You only need to be present, moment by moment. Over time, the restless mind becomes quieter. The river flows gently, clear and calm. You no longer feel driven by cravings or fears. Instead, you rest in a peaceful center that is always there, no matter what is happening outside. This peace is your true nature. It is not something to earn or find somewhere far away. It is here now, waiting for you to notice. When you stop chasing after fleeting pleasures and stop running from your own feelings, you come home to yourself. In this home, there's happiness that no one can take away. There's freedom from the storms of the mind. There's a deep, abiding calm that fills every moment. So, whenever you feel restless, remember, this too shall pass. Watch it with gentle eyes, breathe into it, and trust that peace is already within you. The river of your mind will slow, and you'll find your way back to stillness, detachment, and the joy of non-clinging. There's a gentle river flowing inside each of us. We often try to hold on to the water, grasping it tightly with our hands, only to find it slipping away. This is how attachment feels. We cling to people, things, or even ideas, hoping they will bring us lasting happiness. But just like the river, everything changes and flows onward. Holding on too tightly only brings suffering. In the quiet moments of the morning, when the world is still, think about this. What does it mean to truly let go? Letting go is not about losing what we love. It is about freeing ourselves from the fear of losing. When we cling to things, we become prisoners of our own desires. Our hearts tighten and our minds become restless. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the roots of suffering. When we want something so badly that we cannot live without it, we set ourselves up for pain. Because the nature of life is change. People change, feelings change, and even our own selves change. If we resist this natural flow, suffering grows like a heavy stone on the chest. But imagine, just for a moment, if you could hold things gently like a delicate flower in your hand. You admire its beauty without squeezing it too hard. You enjoy its fragrance without tearing off its petals. This is the way of non-clinging. It is a joyful freedom, a lightness of being that does not depend on possession. Many people believe that happiness is found in having more success, more love, more comfort. But deep down, they feel a hollow ache that never seems to fill. This is because happiness based on possession is like building a house on sand. When the wind comes, the house shakes. When circumstances change, so does the happiness. Detachment does not mean ignoring life or becoming cold. It means engaging fully, but without binding your heart to the outcome. Like the bamboo that bends in the wind, but does not break. The person who practices detachment moves with life's changes without losing balance. You may wonder, how do I practice this detachment in daily life? Start with small moments. When you hold a cup of tea, savor it, but do not cling to the feeling. When you experience joy, enjoy it fully, but understand that joy will pass. When you feel sadness, sit with it, but do not try to keep it forever. There is a story from old Zen teachings. A man carries a heavy load on his back. He walked for miles, struggling, until finally he reaches a river. He stops, sets down the load, and watches it float away. For a moment, his shoulders feel light, and his breath comes easier. We are like that man, carrying invisible loads, attachments that weigh down our spirit. To find happiness in your own company, you must learn to set down these burdens. Only then can you walk freely, with peace in your heart. Detachment opens space in the heart. When you let go of what you cannot control, you make room for what truly matters: peace, clarity, and love that is unconditional. Love that is free from needing to possess or change the other. Think of the sky after a storm. The clouds drift away, and the blue returns. Your mind is like that sky. When you let go of clinging thoughts and desires, your true nature shines clear and calm. Many struggle with detachment because they confuse it with giving up, but letting go is a form of strength, not weakness. It takes courage to face the unknown without holding on. It takes wisdom to see that clinging only causes pain. Buddhism shows us that the root of happiness is not outside in objects or people. It is a light within, shining brightly when a mind is free. This light cannot be stolen or lost because it does not depend on anything external. When you practice non-clinging, you learn to accept life as it is, without trying to force it into your own desires. You meet each moment with openness and trust. This is the path to true joy. Imagine a child playing with bubbles. The child laughs as the bubbles float in the air and then pop. The child does not try to catch or keep the bubbles. The child simply enjoys the beauty and lets them go. This simple joy is the essence of detachment. In our lives, we are invited to be like that child, to appreciate what comes and goes without fear or grasping, to find happiness not by holding tightly, but by flowing gently with life's changes. This does not mean you'll never feel pain or loss. Those are parts of being human, but your suffering will soften because you will no longer fight the natural rhythm of life. You will meet difficulties with a heart that is open, flexible, and wise. Detachment is also about seeing beyond the illusions of the self. When you realize that your identity is not fixed or permanent, clinging to roles, titles, or possessions loses its power. You find freedom in simply being. The joy of non-clinging is a quiet joy. It is not loud or flashy. It is a deep, steady light that warms your spirit. It allows you to be fully present with yourself and others, without expectation or fear. When you practice this, you begin to notice life's beauty more clearly. The smile of a stranger, the warmth of sunlight, the gentle rhythm of your own breath. These simple things become treasures because you're not distracted by wanting more or fearing loss. The Zen master teaches that true happiness is like a flower that blooms without trying to please anyone. It grows because it is nourished by the soil of acceptance and the sun of understanding. As you walk this path, be patient with yourself. Letting go is a process, not a sudden event. Sometimes, old attachments will rise again like waves. Greet them kindly, and then return to the calm center within. Remember, the river flows not because it fights the rocks or banks, but because it moves naturally, finding the path of least resistance. So too can you move through life with grace, holding loosely and loving deeply. Detachment is a gift you give yourself. It is the joy of freedom, the joy of being whole without needing anything outside to complete you. Hold this thought gently in your heart. When you let go, you do not lose. You gain peace. You gain clarity. You gain yourself. When you look deeply within yourself, what you truly see. Often, when people try to know themselves, they find confusion, noise, or even fear. It is natural. The mind is a busy place. Thoughts come and go like clouds crossing the sky. But beneath those clouds, there's a stillness. Beneath the restless chatter, there's a silent mirror that reflects all things clearly. To know yourself is to become a mirror to your own life. You do not have to change or fix anything right away. The mirror simply shows what is there, without judgment or story. It shows the joy and the sorrow, the light and the shadow. When you practice self-reflection, you begin to see yourself as you truly are, not as others expect you to be, nor as you fear you might be. This mirror within is not something far away or hidden. It is present in every breath you take, in every moment you are awake. The simple act of watching your thoughts, feelings, and sensations can reveal patterns that you have carried for many years. Some of these patterns bring suffering, and some bring happiness. By becoming aware, you choose which to nurture and which to let go. Many people believe that being alone means being lonely. But loneliness is a feeling created when we lose touch with the mirror inside. When you connect with yourself deeply, solitude becomes a precious time of learning and healing. The mirror teaches patience. It shows you that all things change, your emotions, your moods, your thoughts, and that none of these are permanent. When you stop rushing away from yourself, you allow the truth to appear. The truth that you are more than your worries or regrets. You are the quiet space where all experiences arise and pass away. This space is free from fear and full of peace. It is always here, even when you forget to look for it. In Buddhism, there is a practice called mindfulness. Mindfulness means paying gentle attention to what is happening right now, inside and outside. When you practice mindfulness, you become a witness to your own life. You watch the mirror without interference. You do not push away the uncomfortable feelings or cling to the pleasant ones. You simply observe. This observation is powerful. It shows you that your thoughts are not who you are. They're like passing clouds. Your feelings are not permanent. They come and go like waves on the ocean. You learn to rest in the stillness behind these waves, the stillness that is your true nature. Self-reflection is not about criticism or self-blame. It is about kindness and understanding. Imagine talking to yourself as you would to a dear friend, with patience, softness, and acceptance. When you treat yourself with care, the mirror becomes clearer. You begin to see your strengths and your weaknesses without fear. The mind often hides behind stories. Stories about the past, about who you are, about what others think of you. These stories create a mask. But the mirror beneath is honest and without disguise. It shows the person beyond the stories, the one who simply is. When you practice looking into this mirror regularly, you start to recognize your true self. You may find that you are not as small as your fears suggest. You are not as broken as your doubts claim. You are whole, even with your imperfections. This recognition is the root of happiness in your own company. Many times, people seek happiness outside, through others' approval, through possessions, or by chasing achievements. But these things change and fade. The mirror within, however, reflects a happiness that does not depend on anything external. It is a happiness born from knowing and accepting yourself. This inner knowing is like coming home after a long journey. No matter where you have been or what you have done, you can always return to this place of peace inside. It is your refuge, your strength, and your joy. The mirror also reveals your connection with the world. When you see yourself clearly, you see others more clearly too. You realize that just as you have struggles and hopes, so do they. This understanding deepens compassion, which is a natural expression of true self-awareness. In this way, self-reflection is not selfish. It opens the heart, not closes it. It helps you relate to yourself with kindness and relate to others with empathy. When you live from this place, loneliness fades and connection grows. Do not be discouraged if self-reflection feels difficult at first. The mind may resist because it is used to distraction and busyness. But with gentle practice, the mirror becomes brighter. Moments of clarity and peace increase. You begin to trust yourself more. Remember, the goal is not to become perfect, but to become real. Real with your joys and your struggles, your strengths and your vulnerabilities. The mirror does not judge. It simply shows what is there. And when you see yourself clearly, you find freedom. Freedom from pretending, freedom from hiding, freedom from fear. Freedom to be at peace in your own company. So, every day, take a moment to look into your inner mirror. Sit quietly and watch what arises in your mind and heart. Notice without judgment. Let the mirror show you the truth of who you are. This simple practice will lead you to a deep and lasting happiness. A happiness that does not need anyone else to be complete. This happiness is your birthright. It has always been with you, waiting for you to notice. In the silence, there's much to learn. But most people rush past it, filling every moment with noise, activity, or thought. They fear silence because it makes them face themselves. Yet, silence is not empty. It is full of wisdom, peace, and truth. To understand silence is to understand life itself. Imagine a still lake early in the morning. The water is calm and clear, reflecting the sky and trees perfectly. There is no disturbance, no movement, just peaceful stillness. This lake teaches us about silence. When the mind is quiet like the lake, it reflects reality without distortion. But when the lake is stirred by wind or stones, the reflection becomes unclear. Most of us live in a mind stirred by constant thoughts, worries, plans, regrets, hopes. This mental noise covers the calm surface beneath. The Zen way teaches us to let the mind settle naturally, like the lake in the morning. When we practice sitting quietly, not pushing away thoughts, but not following them either, we enter a place of stillness. In this stillness, something wonderful happens. You begin to notice how much noise the mind creates for itself. Thoughts come and go like waves, but you don't have to ride them. You can watch them without becoming caught up. This watching, this quiet attention, is the heart of meditation and mindfulness. It opens the door to understanding. When you sit in silence regularly, you start to hear what your busy life often drowns out, your own true nature. Beneath the chatter of the mind, beneath your worries and fears, lies a space of calm and clarity. This space is always there, but it can only be seen when the noise quiets down. Silence teaches patience. It teaches us to wait without anxiety. When we are silent, we learn not to force answers or solutions. We learn that some things unfold in their own time. This is an important lesson, for much suffering comes from impatience, wanting things to be different, wanting control. In silence, you also meet your fears and doubts. At first, this can be uncomfortable. The mind tries to fill the quiet with stories and distractions. But if you stay with the silence, without judgment or fear, these fears lose their power. They reveal themselves as temporary clouds passing through a vast, open sky. Silence is not loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of separation and lack. Silence, on the other hand, is connection. Connection with yourself and with the world in a deeper way. In silence, you are not alone. You are wholly present. The teachings of the Buddha encourage us to find stillness in the midst of life's chaos. Life will always have noise, challenges, and change. But within you is a place untouched by these things. This place is silence, is a refuge and a source of strength. When you practice silence, you begin to hear the subtle sounds of life, the rustle of leaves, the breath of the wind, the quiet heartbeat within. These are reminders that you are alive, connected, and part of a greater whole. In silence, judgments soften. The sharp edges of anger, frustration, and sadness begin to smooth. You start to see things as they are, without the filter of emotion or desire. This clear seeing is freedom. The Zen master does not seek to fill the mind with answers, but to empty it of distractions. This emptiness is not a void, but a space of infinite possibilities. From this emptiness, wisdom and compassion arise naturally. Silence invites us to listen deeply, not just to sounds, but to life itself. When you listen with silence, you hear the unspoken truth beneath words. You hear the rhythm of existence, the pulse of the present moment. Many people are afraid of silence because it exposes the truth of who they are. But the truth is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. When you face yourself in silence, you find a friend, a guide, and a source of endless peace. The practice of sitting quietly each day is a gift you give yourself. It does not require special skills or beliefs. It only requires a willingness to be present, to be still, and to let go. Over time, silence becomes a companion. It walks with you through daily life, offering calm in the storm, clarity in confusion, and light in darkness. You may find that in silence, you understand your problems in a new way. Solutions arise not from struggle, but from peace. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than sources of suffering. Silence also teaches humility. It reminds us that we are part of something greater than ourselves. When the mind is quiet, the ego does not dominate. Instead, a gentle awareness takes its place. This awareness sees that happiness is not something to chase after, but something already present, waiting quietly inside. In silence, you come home to yourself. You find that you are enough, just as you are. This is the deepest lesson of all. So do not fear silence. Do not run from stillness. Embrace it with open arms. Let it teach you, guide you, and heal you. Silence is the teacher that never tires, the friend who never leaves, the light that never fades. When you learn to listen to silence, you learn to listen to life. And in that listening, you find happiness, not outside but within. Remember, the journey to happiness begins with a single moment of stillness. Take that moment now. Breathe deeply. Feel the silence around and within you. Let it fill you completely. In the silence, you will discover the peace you have been seeking all along. Sit quietly for a moment. Breathe gently. Feel the air entering your body and then leaving. Now ask yourself, in this quiet moment, what is missing? Is there anything lacking right now? Or is it only the thoughts in your mind that whisper, you need more? Most people spend their lives chasing things. They chase love, attention, success, money, approval, comfort, even distractions. This chasing is called craving. It's like a thirst that never ends. Once one desire is fulfilled, another quickly rises. One craving leads to the next, like waves in the ocean that never stop rolling in. But have you ever paused to notice what's behind the craving? Why does the mind always want something more? The Buddha taught that all suffering comes from this craving, not from pain, not from loss, not from being alone, but from a mind's refusal to accept what is. The mind says, this moment is not enough, and so we suffer. A person may have everything, wealth, family, health, but still feel unhappy. Why? Because the mind is restless. It wants more. It wants better. It wants different. This wanting, this craving, is like a fire that never stops burning. It consumes peace. It burns through joy. And worst of all, it hides the happiness that already lives inside you. Now, imagine this. What if you could stop chasing? What if, even for a little while, you allowed yourself to just be, with no hunger for more, no urge to fix or change anything? That silence, that space is peace. Not the peace that comes from the outside world, but the deep peace that comes when the fire of craving dies down. To be free from craving is not to reject the world. It's not about living without food, comfort, or kindness. It is simply to stop being a prisoner to wanting. You may still enjoy a cup of tea, a warm blanket, or a kind word, but you no longer need them to be happy. You are happy, and then you enjoy them. That is the difference. Many people confuse craving with motivation. They say, if I don't crave, I won't strive. I won't succeed. But a Zen master smiles and replies, you can act without craving. You can move without clinging. You can do your best and still be free. The lotus grows out of the mud, but it is not attached to the mud. In the same way, you can live fully in the world but not be stuck in it. When we crave, we place a condition on happiness. I'll be happy when I get this or that, or when things are different. But peace begins when you stop making demands of life. When you say, this moment is enough, you return to yourself. And in that return, you find joy. Freedom from craving is not cold or distant. It is gentle. It is warm. It is like a soft rain that washes away the dust of endless wanting. When craving fades, the heart becomes lighter. You smile more. You breathe easier. You feel more present with the people you love, because you are not trying to get something from them. You are simply with them. In Buddhism, there's a word, tianha. It means thirst. This thirst is what causes our suffering. But there is another word, nibbana. It means the extinguishing of that thirst, not in death but in life. When the fire of wanting is put out, the coolness of peace takes its place, and you begin to live in a very different way. A person free from craving does not stop living. They simply stop suffering. They laugh, they cry, they work, they rest, but they're not driven by a desperate need. They can enjoy a flower without needing to pick it. They can hold a hand without needing it to stay forever. They can feel joy without fearing that it will go away. Have you ever watched a child play in a field with no toy, no phone, no goal, just joy? That is the natural state of a mind free from craving. It is playful. It is light. It is full. You too were once that child, and you can return to that place, not by becoming young again, but by letting go. This letting go is not forceful. It's not about fighting the mind. It's about understanding it, seeing how it works, watching how desire arises and fades, just like a cloud in the sky. When you stop following every cloud, you begin to see the sky. And the sky is vast and free. Sometimes people think freedom from craving means cutting yourself off from everything. But a wise one knows it's not about less life, it's about deeper life. You feel more, you see more, you care more, because your mind is not always rushing to the next thing. You can finally stay where you are, and there you find peace. If you sit in stillness long enough, you may notice how craving comes in waves. It rises, it peaks, and then it passes. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to answer every desire. You can observe it like a bird passing through the sky. And when you do, you become stronger than the craving. You become the witness, not the prisoner. When you no longer chase happiness, happiness finds you. It was never far away. It was simply hidden beneath layers of wanting. Beneath every I need, there's a quiet voice saying, I am already enough. And when you hear that voice, your whole life begins to change. Relationships become easier because you stop expecting others to complete you. Work becomes simpler because it's no longer about proving your worth. Even sadness feels lighter because it's not tangled up in fear. You feel what you feel and let it go. You live what you live and let it flow. Freedom from craving is not a distant goal. It begins here and now in this breath. You don't need to be a monk. You don't need to leave your life behind. You just need to pause and listen, to notice the craving and gently say, not today, and then return to the moment. This moment, as it is complete. Not perfect, but complete. Your body is breathing. Your heart is beating. The world is turning. There is no rush. There is nothing missing. Can you feel that? In time, this practice becomes a way of living. You no longer grasp at every pleasure or run from every pain. You no longer get caught in the stories of if only or what if. You learn to rest in the now, and in this rest, there is great power, a calm power, a silent joy. So walk gently, breathe slowly, smile without reason. And remember, the door to peace is always open. It is found not in having more, but in needing less. Not in escaping life, but in fully embracing it, without the fire of craving, without the weight of desire. You are already whole. You are already enough. And when the mind grows quiet, you will know it, not as an idea, but as a truth deeper than words. Stay with that truth. Let it grow in you, and let it guide your steps. This is the way of the peaceful one. This is the way of the one who has found happiness in their own company, because they're no longer chasing what they already are. To be truly at peace, one must learn to be a friend to the present moment. This is not a small thing. It is the doorway to a life filled with calm, clarity, and joy. Too often, the mind wanders, pulling us into the past or chasing after the future. In doing so, it misses the only place where life actually happens. Now, imagine for a moment that your mind is like a river. The water is always flowing, moving swiftly through time. When you try to hold onto the water, it slips away. But when you allow it to flow, when you observe it without struggle, you begin to see the river clearly. This is how it is with the present moment. The present moment is not just a point in time. It is the whole of your life happening right now. When you fully meet this moment, without judgment or distraction, you touch something real and unshakable inside yourself. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. Many believe happiness lies in having more things, more achievements, more experiences. But these are shadows on the surface. True happiness is found by resting in the now. When you can be fully present, you no longer feel the need to fill your life with noise or busyness to escape yourself. This does not mean you stop caring about your future or the people around you. It means your care comes from a place of calm and clarity, not from fear or desperation. When your mind is rooted in the present, your actions flow naturally and wisely. You become like a tree deeply rooted, unshaken by passing storms. Notice how often your mind wants to judge the moment, labeling it as good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. These judgments pull you away from peace. Instead, try to meet each moment with openness, like the sky that welcomes all weather without resistance. When unpleasant feelings arise, this is your chance to practice kindness toward yourself. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from resistance. When you stop resisting what is, your suffering softens. You do not have to run from discomfort. You can sit with it gently, like sitting beside a friend who is sad. By embracing the present moment, you build a new relationship with yourself. You learn to trust your own mind and heart. This trust is the foundation of lasting happiness. Without it, the mind remains a restless traveler, always searching, never finding home. The practice of being present is simple, but not always easy. It asks for patience and kindness. Some days, the mind will be calm like a still lake. Other days, it will be like a stormy sea. Both are part of the path. Neither is permanent. Both will pass. When you return to the present moment, again and again, you start to notice small miracles. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of a bird's song, the breath moving in and out of your body. These are not trivial details. They are invitations to awaken. Awakening means opening your eyes to the beauty and mystery of life as it is. It means seeing that happiness is not a distant goal, but a quality you can touch in this very moment. You do not need to change your life to be happy. You need only to change your way of seeing it. The present moment is a teacher. It shows you the truth of impermanence. Nothing stays the same. Every feeling, every thought, every situation moves like clouds across the sky. When you understand this deeply, you learn to let go. You hold things lightly, without grasping or pushing away. This lightness frees the heart. It allows you to meet others with openness and compassion. When you are rooted in the present, your love flows naturally. You're not caught in fears of loss or hopes of gain. You love simply because love is your nature. In your solitude, the present moment is your closest companion. It holds you with gentle presence, inviting you to rest from struggle. You begin to see that happiness is not something to chase, but something to allow. It is already within you, waiting to be uncovered. Many spend their lives running, from pain, from boredom, from themselves. The present moment asks you to stop, to breathe, to be here. In this stillness, you discover a wellspring of peace that no outside circumstance can take away. This peace is like a deep lake beneath the surface of your busy mind. When you dive below the waves of worry and distraction, you find calm water. The fish may swim above, but beneath all is still. This stillness is your true home. It is the place where happiness lives. No matter what life brings, you can return here. You can rest in the present moment, like a traveler finally arriving after a long journey. The Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This simple teaching holds the key to a joyful life. Where your mind lives in the now, your heart finds freedom. Practice this every day. Notice when your mind wanders. Gently bring it back to the breath, to the sensations of your body, to the sounds around you. This is not forcing the mind, but guiding it with kindness. Over time, the habit of presence grows stronger. You become less caught in regrets or worries. You begin to meet each moment as it comes, fully and with grace. This is not a destination, but a journey. Each moment is a new chance to practice, to awaken, to love. The present moment is a gift. When you unwrap it with care, you find happiness waiting inside. So, friend, be with yourself now. Breathe deeply. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Hear the sounds around you. Know that this moment is enough. You are enough. In this moment, there is nothing missing. There is only presence. And in presence, you find peace. There is a quiet question that often lingers in the minds of those who seek peace. Who am I? Really? We all carry many names. Father, mother, friend, worker, thinker. But beneath these labels lies something deeper. Something untouched by roles, opinions, or the passing of time. This is the self beyond the self. Most people believe that the I they speak of is a solid, unchanging thing. But the truth is much softer, much more fluid. The ego, the I that insists on being right, that wants to protect its image, is like a cloud passing through the sky. It may seem solid, but it moves and changes. The wind can carry it away. In Buddhist thought, the ego is seen as a construction of the mind, a collection of habits and thoughts we identify with so strongly that we mistake it for who we truly are. But this ego is not our real self. It is a mask, a story, a voice in the mind. To transcend the ego means to see it for what it is, not a prison, but a passing shape. It means realizing that who you are is far greater than your thoughts, your worries, your fears, or your achievements. The true self is the space in which all these things appear and disappear. It is the silent witness that watches the mind's dance without attachment. This is a difficult idea for many. We often cling to our ego because it feels like safety. It tells us, I am special, I am important, I am separate. But this sense of separateness is the root of much suffering. When we see ourselves as alone, cut off, or different, fear and loneliness arise naturally. But imagine this. Beneath all those roles and labels, there is a connection to everything around you. The trees, the sky, the wind, they are not separate from you. They are part of the same existence. When you look closely, the boundaries begin to dissolve. The self that clings tight begins to soften and expand. This is the essence of transcending the ego. It is not about losing yourself, but about finding a deeper, truer self. The self that does not need to prove anything. The self that is free to simply be. When the ego steps aside, a new kind of happiness arises, one that is not dependent on conditions or approval. This happiness is steady like a mountain, calm like a still lake. It is not shaken by praise or criticism, gain or loss. In daily life, this means responding to situations with a quiet mind. Instead of reacting out of fear or pride, you act from a place of clarity and kindness. The ego's voice may still whisper, but it no longer controls the wheel. It is helpful to remember the story of the finger pointing to the moon. If you focus too much on the finger, you miss the beauty of the moon itself. The ego is the finger. The true self is the moon. Meditation is a powerful tool in this journey. By sitting quietly and observing your thoughts without judgment, you begin to notice how the ego builds its stories and worries. You see that these are just thoughts, not facts. This awareness weakens the ego's grip and opens the door to freedom. It is not about forcing the ego away, but gently inviting it to relax. Like a child who clings to a parent's hand, the ego needs patience and compassion. With time, it learns that it is safe to let go and explore the vastness beyond. When the ego loosens, relationships also change. Without the need to defend or prove oneself, connections become more genuine and loving. You no longer see others as threats or competitors, but as fellow travelers on the path. This shift brings a deep sense of peace. The mind stops racing to protect its image or win approval. Instead, it rests in a natural openness and acceptance. This is the self beyond the self, a presence that is alive, awake, and free. The great Zen masters often said that the self is like water. It flows, it changes, but never loses its essence. When water meets an obstacle, it does not fight, it moves around it. The ego often fights and resists, causing struggle and pain. The true self, however, flows smoothly through life's challenges. To live from this place is to experience life fully. Joy and sorrow come and go, but the self remains steady. like the sky that holds both sunshine and storms. Your inner being can hold all experiences without being disturbed. This does not mean you become detached or cold. Rather, your heart becomes more open. Without the ego's sharp edges, love and compassion flow naturally. You become a source of calm and kindness for yourself and others. Remember, this is a gradual unfolding. The ego does not disappear overnight. It takes gentle practice, patience, and self-awareness. Each moment you notice the ego's voice and choose not to believe it, you step closer to freedom. In this way, transcending the ego is not about losing identity, but discovering a truer, deeper identity. It is the path to genuine happiness, peace, and wisdom. So, breathe deeply, sit quietly, and watch the mind with kindness. Notice the stories your ego tells, and thank it for trying to protect you. Then gently let those stories fade into the background, making space for the self beyond the self to shine. In this silence, you will find a presence that is always with you, a presence that is whole, unbroken, and free. The journey has brought us here, to the place where we meet ourselves fully, where the silence inside is not empty, but full of life. You have walked a long road, sometimes easy, sometimes difficult. But now, in this moment, you stand with your own heart. This is the greatest meeting of all, the reunion with your true self. To be whole within is to know that happiness is not a treasure buried outside, but a light that has always been inside you. It has no need to be searched for, chased after, or won. It simply is, like the sun behind the clouds. It waits patiently for you to lift the veil and see it clearly. Many people spend their lives looking for something to fill the spaces inside them. They try to fill it with company, with things, with achievements, with approval. But these are like waves on the surface of the ocean. They rise and fall. They can never satisfy the depths beneath. True happiness is the deep ocean itself, calm, steady, and unchanging. In the stillness of your own company, you discover the true nature of your mind. The Buddha taught that all things change. This is not a cause for fear, but a call to awaken. When you accept the changing nature of life, you no longer cling to what is passing. You become free. This freedom is happiness. You may wonder, how can I find happiness alone when the world is so noisy and my thoughts are so loud? The answer lies in learning to watch your thoughts without becoming them. When you sit quietly and simply observe, you realize that thoughts come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. You are the sky itself, vast, open, and clear beneath the clouds. This realization brings peace. You do not have to fight your thoughts or push them away. You simply let them be, and in doing so, you return to your true nature. This is the heart of Zen practice. Not to change who you are, but to see clearly who you already are. Being alone is not a punishment or a state to fear. It is the very ground of your being. When you stop running from yourself, you stop running from life. In this stillness, you find your strength. You find a kindness toward yourself that no one else can give. Happiness in your own company is a deep friendship with your mind, your body, your heart. It is a quiet celebration of existence itself. When you are comfortable with yourself, you no longer need to seek approval or fear rejection. You rest in your own presence like a tree resting in the earth, steady, grounded, alive. Life will continue to change. People will come and go, but the peace you cultivate inside will remain, like a lamp burning through the darkest night. This lamp is your true happiness. It is not dependent on anyone or anything outside. It is yours always. Remember, the Buddha did not say that life is without suffering, but he showed a way to be free from suffering by understanding the nature of the mind. When you understand your own mind, you understand how to return home to yourself. This is the greatest homecoming of all. So, walk gently now with this knowledge. Practice kindness to yourself every day. When you feel alone, remember that you are not empty. You are full of life, waiting to be discovered. When your mind is restless, watch it with patience and love like a friend in need. Let your happiness be your own. Let it be steady, deep, and unshakable. This is the gift of solitude, the gift of being truly, fully with yourself. It is the gift that no one can take away. If you carry this truth with you, you will never be alone. You will be your own companion, your own refuge, your own light. And in that light, the whole world will shine. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart, and for taking the time to find happiness in your own company. May you always know peace, joy, and the deep calm that comes from within. And now, as this journey comes to a close, I invite you to carry this wisdom gently in your heart. Share when the time feels right, but above all, live it quietly, simply, and deeply. If this message has touched your heart, please like this video, share it with those who might need it, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your thoughts and experiences are precious. Please drop them in the comments below. Together, we create a space of peace and understanding. May you be well. May you be happy. May you find comfort in your own presence. Always. You sit in silence, and slowly, the world outside begins to fade. The voices that once called for your attention now soften like distant waves. You start to hear something quieter, something closer. It is your own breath. It is your own heart. It is you meeting yourself. In our busy lives, we forget how to sit with ourselves. We rush from one place to another, not just with our feet, but with our thoughts. We fill every space with sound, every hour with tasks, every moment with distraction. Why? Because somewhere inside, we are afraid of what silence might show us. But silence is not your enemy. It is your teacher. When you stop running and sit still, you meet the one person you've been avoiding, yourself. And here's the truth. You are not a stranger. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are simply unheard. And in silence, you begin to listen. Many people feel uncomfortable alone because they've never learned how to be with themselves in a kind and gentle way. They judge their thoughts. They criticize their feelings. They carry shame from the past or fear about the future. But the present moment asks none of that from you. The present moment simply says, be here. Just be. In the quiet company of yourself, there is no need to impress, explain, or perform. There is only the truth. And the truth is, you are already enough. The world teaches us to seek happiness through doing. But in Zen, we learn happiness through being. To sit with yourself, breathe quietly, and do nothing but notice. This is not laziness. This is deep work. This is the practice of presence. When you are present with yourself, you begin to notice things you've overlooked. The way your breath rises and falls. The way your chest softens when you release a heavy thought. The way peace gently arrives. Not because something changed, but because you finally allowed yourself to be here. People often say, I'll be happy when they find the right partner, when they earn more, when their health is perfect. But happiness that waits is happiness that hides. True happiness is not hidden. It is not in the future. It is always here, in this breath, in this step, in this moment with yourself. Zen does not ask you to become someone else. It simply invites you to remove what is not you. Like clouds clearing from the sky, what remains is not something new. It's something that has always been there. Your original mind, your calm heart. In solitude, this truth becomes visible. In solitude, your soul is not lonely, it is finally breathing. You may fear silence because you think it will be empty. But have you ever watched a tree? It does not speak, but it is full of life. It stands without asking for attention. It grows without hurry. It bends with the wind, but does not break. You too can be like this tree, strong, rooted, silent, and full. The more time you spend with yourself, the more you discover your inner richness. You stop needing others to complete you. Instead, you share yourself with them, not out of need, but out of fullness. Relationships become gifts, not crutches. You are no longer seeking to be rescued. You are offering your calm presence. When you stop fighting who you are, you find peace. When you stop needing to be someone else, you find rest. When you stop waiting for happiness, you find it was already there, quietly waiting for you to come home. Happiness in your company does not mean never feeling sad or angry or uncertain. These are human emotions, and they will arise. But when you have learned to sit with yourself in love, you do not fear these feelings. You welcome them like guests. You offer them tea. You watch them come and go, but you do not lose yourself in them. This is the power of awareness. This is the strength of stillness. This is the path of the quiet mind. Your mind may wander. Your thoughts may swirl. That's okay. You are not trying to stop the river. You're learning how to sit by the river without jumping in. With time, your mind will quiet. Like a pond clearing after a storm, your thoughts will settle. And when they do, you will see your reflection clear, kind, whole. Zen teaches that enlightenment is not found somewhere else. It is found here, in this very moment, when you are fully awake to yourself. You don't need special clothes or sacred places. You don't need long hours or rare teachings. You only need this, to be here, to be real, to be you. Each time you sit with yourself, even for a few moments, you water the seed of joy. That seed may be small now, but it is alive. With attention and care, it will grow. It will become a tree that gives you shade in sorrow and fruit in stillness. You are not broken. You are not missing anything. You are a whole being, capable of great peace. All that is needed is your own willingness to be with yourself, not just on the good days, but on all days. Especially on the quiet days. Especially when no one is watching. Especially when you feel nothing is happening. Because it is in these quiet moments that transformation takes root. Let the world be as it is. Let your thoughts rise and fall. Let others come and go. But stay here with yourself. Breathe. Notice. Be kind. Smile gently. You have already come so far. You are doing beautifully. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Walk slowly. Carry this quiet with you. Not as a shield, but as a light. The world needs people who are calm. The world needs people who are kind to themselves. The world needs you. You have learned now how to be your own home. How to sit in your own presence and feel safe. How to find peace, not in the noise of the world, but in the simple sound of your breath. This is the gift of solitude. This is the joy of your own company. This is the truth that was waiting all along.